first and foremost, in diplomacy, optics are substance. Of course, people are talking about, and experts and analysts are saying cameras can be misleading. But the Bergenstock visuals, they've created a particular perception, that the Americans arrived first, they kept waiting. J.D. Vance was standing in position before everyone else. Iran's Abbas Araghchi enters later. He greets Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, engages with the mediators, refuses the photo op, refuses the handshake. He then walks out briefly. And I mean, it's startling how confused and puzzled Shehbaz Sharif looks at that particular moment in time. Only returns back on Iranian terms. What's your assessment here, ma'am? Because the trolls have started doing their work on the internet. But optics, they tell us a larger picture than the first round of talks have been able to divulge.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you're right about the memorandum of understanding being very fragile. And I think you're also right that the Iranian delegation did this entire show because by the time President Trump's statement had come in, and this had infuriated them. In fact, they walked in, ignored the US delegation, and then walked out. So then the US Vice President was extremely puzzled what happened.
Yeah.
And the Qatari and Pakistanis ran out to call them back in. There was a walkout even before the talks began. I think in all of this, it's very, very clear that Iran is trying to maintain the upper hand, number one. And number two, they've made it crystal clear that the key issue is Lebanon. We know in the very first paragraph of the Memorandum of Understanding, the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon is considered an important issue. Lebanon is mentioned 3 times in that very first paragraph. But then we know that Israel is not holding back at all. Of course, they're blaming Hezbollah, but then they are hitting at Lebanon all the time. Number one, they control a lot of territory of Lebanon, which they are refusing to give up, number one. And number two, their strikes just the day of the talks itself on Sunday, yesterday, killed about 13 to 15 people in Lebanon. So I think this issue is the key stalling factor now. And the outcome of this first round shows very clearly that that this is the key issue, because there is a de-confliction group which has been set to make sure that the Lebanon issue does not go out of control. This has Iran, USA, and Lebanon, but Israel is not there. And Israel is the key factor which is causing all these problems. So is it USA that is going to control Israel? Is it Israel is going to be the elephant in the room?
You know what, Ambassador, and Adit, you as well, it seems like, the most funniest part of this entire, visual optics that played out was that the look on Shehbaz Sharif's face, he's bewildered. And, he looks up to Asim Munir. He can't think for himself. That's a different topic and a ballgame altogether. And in the corner of the room, you have J.D. Vance standing at that vantage point, assessing it all. And then on the other hand, the internet turning these visuals into a verdict that Iran has humiliated America. But look at what Donald Trump has done to his own vice president. The vice president then picks up the mic, says that we're looking at regional stability and whatnot, the same bluster that we've heard so many times again, and then Donald Trump walked back on that. Reports suggest that Iran was angered by the Hormuz threats, the Donald Trump's rhetoric, military warnings, J.D. Vance trying diplomacy in Switzerland, and Donald Trump, his own president, simultaneously raising pressure elsewhere. Has Donald Trump sabotaged these negotiations himself?
Well, look, Donald Trump has a motor mouth. There's no doubt about it. He's undiplomatic, uncharismatic, and has a very megalomaniac way of approaching the subject of politics, which is completely new for these people. I mean, now, Indians are starting to understand his way of operation. The world is starting to sort of acclimatize to his way of operations. But for Iranians, this is all very new. And which is why, they were not up, they just didn't want to acknowledge that way of his outburst on social media. Look, for Iran, now the goalpost has shifted slightly. They are making Lebanon as a key tool in this particular peace deal. And Israel is going to continue to undermine and continue to sabotage this particular aspect, because from Israel's perspective, the UN not having levied the resolution 1701, which basically debars militarization and allowing Hezbollah to have arms beyond the Litani River, south of the Litani River, has never been done over the last 20 years. And for them, that is the that is a red line that they are drawing, which is why they are disproportionately targeting Hezbollah targets and Lebanon, to say the least. Now they have gone into Lebanon, where they are they're basically holding they're holding the Beaufort Castle, for example, which is on the height,
Yeah.
where they are going to target the Hezbollah, bunkers and their missiles disproportionately, and that will continue. And this flare-up is what Iran is particularly not happy. So, in a short-term perspective, this flare-up is going to continue to happen, and as a consequence, this particular peace deal is going to continue to remain fragile. From a long-term perspective, I think there will be some sort of managed de-escalation that we may be able to see, but the most probable path to that comprehensive peace will never be there until and unless Iran, overtly sort of gives up its objective to annihilate Israel completely. So that will continue to linger on, and as a consequence, anybody who's mediating this deal, now whether that be Qatar or whether that be Pakistan, and not having an Israel in that particular room and relying on the Americans to speak for Israel is very dangerous, because we also need to remember the internal politics of Israel. Netanyahu is not going to act on the basis of how Donald Trump tells him to, because he is under compulsion of his own coalition along the lines with Ben Gvir and all of these people, which are holding him to hostage. So the moment he lets go, his political career is done, it's doomed.